everybody. How y'all doing? Hi, it's Nemo. And today I want to talk to you about Aretha Franklin's life story movie with Jennifer Hudson called Respect. So let's get right to it. First off, um, it was too long. Any movie that's over 2 hours, just make a mini series. You know? Um, and then the coolest thing though, the hair. Y'all, those wigs, the little girl with the two corners and the little fringe bangs, whatever you want to call it. I used to comb that hairstyle. The hair, the hair was just the hair for the heirloom. Now, I don't really want to talk about the music or like whether or not it was a good movie so much as I want to talk about like the things I saw as a black woman. And I know I saw an interview a while back where some it might have been an interview for Aretha herself or with Jennifer like long before, like years ago, where they were talking about how Aretha didn't want to like talk bad about people. Um she didn't want to uh say things that happened that would put people in a bad light. And that came through loud and clear. Like I feel as though this was just like it's kind of like how I tell stories where you kind of tell the story but you talk around all the bad stuff. So I'm not saying that as a criticism. I'm just pointing out like the reality of the way we deal with our trauma, the things we don't talk about, where the reason doesn't matter, and the things we tell ourselves to allow ourselves to keep going. So I want to jump right in and to talk about child sexual assault. I'm not calling it abuse or none of this thing. Call a spade a spade. Child sexual assault. If there are children in your life, you need to first, from the very first beginning, you need to teach them personhood. You need to teach them that no matter what it is, whether it's a hug, someone touching their shoulder, that no one is allowed to touch them if they don't want them to. I know that might seem radical to some of you, but it's what I've taught the kids. If someone doesn't want you to touch their elbow, you don't touch their elbow. It's that you teach consent and you protect them against the bodies from the beginning. Read about it, not on some website, not on, it doesn't matter. Don't watch a video. You need to find an actual book and learn to see the signs of child sexual assault. And I'm not gonna say that word again because your YouTube algorithm, blah blah. And learn how to talk to kids about taking care of their body and just not letting other people, and if it does happen, what to do. Okay, so that domestic violence, y'all, he straight up like the roots of slavery are so deeply ingrained in us that in 2020 season 2 that people still think it's okay in the various communities of descendants of slaves to just straight up slap someone if they don't do what you want them to do and to apologize. Like there are a lot of us who were raised to think that we don't get to ask for what we need. There's a place in the movie where Aretha is late, and the guy who's in charge, the record music producer, whatever he is like, it's okay. She's not as much as a diva as so and so and so and so. And the father was like, yeah, but I raised her right. He's like, apologize, and he's like, the reason why you're not successful is because you're not working hard enough. And Aretha is trying to advocate for herself to say that she is not making the music she wants to make, and he just straight up slaps her. And then she just apologizes. Like, there are so many of us who raised and who never allowed to advocate for ourselves. And we think like that's the right way. No matter what happens, we just apologize. Because the minute we advocate for ourselves, it comes down on us. So we never actually really learn to advocate for ourselves. We always staying sorry, and like we always have to be the good Negro, you know, never making any mistakes, always, putting our needs last. And that's how it comes to not talking bad about others. Because if somebody does something to you and you speak up about it, then you're seen as a bad person for talking bad about the person. But they did it. Like, there's a part where they were like, Aretha, are you gonna tell us who the father of your children are? A whole movie about her life. And I know that Aretha was very involved in what was people were allowed to say and include in the movie. And she never straight up says who the father of her children are. Like, I'm not saying that she should have. I'm just saying, I'm pointing out to you that she probably like physically couldn't even, because it's so deep in her to not speak bad about somebody. That's just how it is. I'm not saying it as a criticism, and you see me doing the same thing I'm talking about. It's just how and I feel as if these things prevent us from healing, and we don't even know it, y'all. And then there's the fact that Aretha's mother was being beaten by the father. They kind of address that a little more, because it's like certain things they delved more into the movie. And again, I still feel as a mini series they could really have fleshed out the topics. And it's just like the cycle of domestic violence, where Aretha's father was abusive towards them, emotionally controlling, and then her mother, he hit the mother, and the Aretha ended up with a husband that hit her when she was trying to escape her father's controllingness. That's how it happens, because we continue to, when they teach you to put your needs behind that of others, you end up gravitating towards those kind of people, and it takes you a while to come back from that. And then they show us Aretha going to alcohol. Like, there's some things that are deeply ingrained in our cultures, and I say our to mean those of us who descended from slaves, that is just our way of coping. it the Because you see, the thing is, during slavery, all that was in slavery was violence. People got hit while they were trying to work. There's some people did a study of former slaves, their bodies, and they found that the muscle was just detaching from the bones. They were working so hard, their muscles would just detach from their bones. Their joints would just detach, because they would work. That's working past your breaking point. And the reason why they worked till they literally couldn't, till they dropped, is because the other option was violence against them. And that's like kind of in us, because it has to take work to get that out of us. So you find yourself having a sympathy towards the people, like they don't know better, but at the same time you need to take yourself out. You understand? And that's not easy because a lot of our cultures, when you stand up for yourself, when you try to remove yourself from those kinds of situations, you're seen as the bad person. And so we see another thing about the importance of church. Now, we have Aretha going through lots of trauma, having mental health problems, dealing with it through substance abuse. And then, and she also dealing with the loss of her mother at an early age. And then we have all that trauma, and like the message of the movie is that she goes back and does a gospel album, and it kind of subtly says that going back to church healed her. Now, I'm not saying that church cannot heal you. What I'm saying is that we have this thing in our culture where people think that if something's wrong with you, the reason the thing is wrong with you, because her father even says to her at one point in the movie, "You're not of the spirit anymore." Where the people, there's this idea that if something's wrong with you, it's because you're not going to church or you're not praying enough. And that's something that's really harmful in our community, because it's an easy way to not address the issues: loss, trauma, abuse, assault, violence, substance abuse, mental health issues. It just got all, just pray, just pray, you know. And I know I didn't really talk about the loss so much, and like that's one another thing I wanted to bring up, like why it resonated with me so much. Because I know it might seem for all of this that I didn't enjoy the movie. I did. I do think people should watch it. But one of the reasons it resonated so much with me, because when Aretha's mother died, she stopped talking, and I was like, girl after my own heart. Because y'all, when I was a child, that's what I would do. And people see it as willful and all of that stuff, and they just yell at you. Like, you see her father yelling at her, you see people yelling at her, hurry up and talk. Like, you're not allowed to process stuff. Like, from small, from a young age, you're supposed to be strong, you're supposed to just keep going. And that's like part of the thing. The scene in LA where they're like trying to get her to cut back on her tour dates, she can't. She doesn't know how to, because she's never been allowed to rest and process, and she doesn't know how to. Like, it really takes a lot to unlearn all of these behaviors. And there's a lot more I want to talk about, but there's two things I want to point out before I finish. The first thing is, it was really cool that Aretha. Oh wait, one thing I forgot, that the collective trauma of Black people and the civil rights movement and all the fighting that we have to do, they kind of brushed over it, and they kind of brushed over it, like the fact that Aretha was close with Martin Luther King, and that he died, and it was really awful. It was kind of like little snippets, like it kind of almost like they could have been using footage from her life. I'm kind of all over the place, like the movie in this video, but you know what, that's okay. So yes, it was kind of cool that she was matching, and they showed some of that. And in her lifetime, at the end they put a little thing about her singing at Barack Obama's inauguration, it kind of gave me hope that even though it seems like we're not really progressing, but we are making strides. So I thought that was like really cool that in one lifetime we could make some progress. And the final thing is that one of the cool things, even though I criticize the message that church heals everything, what I think is really cool is the idea that we need to be true to ourselves. Because when she did do the gospel album, which was going back to her roots, which was kind of like something she had to put aside, she thought she had to put aside to be successful, that album did do really well. It was her best-selling album, because all the successful people will tell you to be yourself. So that's what I think people should take away from it. Although I'm conflicted because like she when she was successful she was able to be herself. Is that true now? I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm still struggling with it. But I'm here as myself with my hair all messed up, and hopefully we'll see. We'll see. I guess that's what we spend our entire lifetime trying to figure out. So, if you haven't watched the movie, I really encourage you to watch it. You can watch it on online platforms. I'll drop some links below. There may be affiliate links. I'm not sure if it's in the theater. Y'all know I don't go anywhere. So, if you haven't watched it, watched it. If you watched it, let me know what you thought of the movie down below. Um, Let me know what y'all think of these ideas, because I know that not all of us are raised a certain way, but with those of us who raised that way, it really resonates with us. Um, and for those people who are going to tell me that Black experience is not a monolith, blah 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 blah, just don't. That's all for now, yo. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next video eventually. Bye.